Hey guys, I'm Zach. Today I'm going to break down a little bit for you guys Mad Love, which is the most recent song that I put on Spotify. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Um, but before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to try and do these quite often, but I'm not a YouTuber very much, so you're going to have to forgive me if my videos aren't as high quality as you were expecting. Um, but I just want to break this down for you guys because I know some of you out there, like I've gotten a couple questions like, what's this song about, or what's the meaning, or how do you make your songs? So I thought I'd break down some of the tracks from the upcoming EP for you, and I'm going to start with this one because it was the single. And then after the 30th, when the new one comes out, I'm going to start breaking down those ones as well. So just let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video or if you have any recommendations of how I can improve, because I really want to get better at doing this because I know it's going to be good for you guys to engage with the music and get a little bit of behind the scenes, because I'm not one of those guys who's just like, oh no, it's just me and I'm some superstar who's, too big for anything else. I don't care. I'm humble and I recognize that. You guys enjoy it. So um, hopefully you enjoy it, and if you do, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, chuck it to a friend, whatever you want to do. Um, but yeah, so first thing I'm gonna break down the instrumental a little bit. But before I do that, I'm just gonna give you a brief overview of what the song's actually about. So I wrote this song with the kind of the idea of like telling a story, like imagining that I was on stage and I finished this show and I meet a girl and it's just a fan and I'm just like, oh, this is cool, yeah, whatever. And then she's just like stalking me for ages and I'm like, what do I do? That kind of like that mad crazy fan. Um, and I kind of thought it would be a cool thing to make into a song. It'd be kind of fun and it would be playful. And it'd be a chance to kind of talk about some of the feelings that it's like when you make a song and someone comes up to you and tells you what they think and all that sort of stuff, and how it's so hard to figure out how to respond and what's the appropriate level of response as an artist. And so I kind of wrote a song about it and it's a bit of fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and that's what it's about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to break down the instrumental here a little bit for you guys. So that, as you can see, that's this part under this guy's here. Um, so when you hear it, when it first comes in, you hear this part here. And I got a couple of questions like, what's the effect that I put on it to make it sound all wavy and stuff? And that's this one here. It's called Isotope Vinyl. It's a great plugin, which pretty much just emulates a record player. And so I chucked that in there, and that's how I get this like cool fade out effect and all the waves, and it sounds like it's on vinyl. But yeah, so then it comes in with those kicks. Now those kicks are pretty hard. I like those kicks. It's pretty basic, and the drums in the first part are pretty basic. But then the other part that we have there is we have this bass line. Now with the bass line, it was kind of weird. Like I had just gotten a bass and I was just playing around, and that's pretty much what started the whole track for me, was this bass line. And I kind of recorded it, and I was like, oh, that's actually pretty good. Like I got it on time. I'm gonna try and make a beat out of this. And this was the instrumental. This is the beat, the bass line. Um, yeah, so hopefully you can hear that. But yeah, no, that bass line kind of came together um, just out of me playing around. And then from that, I built up the drums. Now, to kind of play you the drums, I'm just going to take you to like pretty much towards the end. So there's two sections of drums here. Like I have a couple of different snares that you can hear if you listen to the track. You can hear a couple of different snare sounds. Um, but pretty much, I'm just going to play you the bass and the drums here for a sec. And in that, you can kind of hear there's like a long snare at the start, and then there's just the short snare after it. Now, at different times in the song, there's different things, and I like to try and make sure that like each verse and chorus is slightly different. It just gives it a little bit of extra texture rather than just copy and pasting it across. It helps the song feel like it builds in energy. So like the first verse is just the kick, and then the snare comes in. Whereas that second verse is much bigger. It's got the hi hats, it's got that long snare and that short snare, and it kind of just feels a lot bigger. And then of course there it goes into this like second section, which I've actually got quite a lot of questions about, which is this trap kind of breakdown part. So it completely switches up, and it goes into this. The only thing that stays the same, I think, throughout this part here, I think the bass line's in there a little bit. And then other than that, it's mostly just. There's something in the way she moves, it's like deja vu when they follow you. Yes, it's pretty much just it's just an 808, that original bass line, the kick, which I've changed up completely to be a bit more trappy and a little bit more hip hop, and then it's got that those hi-hats, which are very trap hi-hats. So it's just a different snare, an 808, and the hats added in, and that completely changes the entire vibe of the song without losing that groove or the continuity of the song. When it comes to melodies, in terms of like sounds, there's a couple of different ones that I have in here, that you'll probably recognize. There's another one down here somewhere. But yeah, and those sounds are pretty basic. So when, like, if you listen to these ones, you got this sound, which you hear at the start. And then you kind of got this one that plays underneath it. It's cool. I call it Specimal. It's like a cool sound that I used. I'm pretty sure it's from Twist. Yeah, Twist, which is a great synth. If you're out there looking for some synths, Twist is an awesome one. And you get this sound. And that sound, as you can probably hear, it's sidechained to the kick. So what you do is you take the output of the kick and you run it through a compressor that's on the thing. Producers know what I'm talking about, but for everyone else, it's called sidechain. And it's pretty cool. It gives that sound a little bit more bounce. And there's this other sound which is very similar. It's also Specimal, but I've kind of changed the sound a little bit, which is down here, which is for the verse. So it's pretty hard to hear the difference, but the only difference is it's EQ'd a little bit differently. It's got a little bit less low end, and it's just to help it sit a little bit higher for the verse and doesn't interfere. It doesn't feel as big. The next thing we kind of get to is we get to this this sound here, which you can hear. And it's super soft, and again it's sidechained to that kick. It's that same effect, which just gives it a little bit of bounce, but it's super soft, and it just adds a little bit of texture to that thing. So together, those sounds sound like this. And yeah, and so altogether the track is As You Know It, which is this part here. You know she got that mad love, baby. Guess I drive her crazy. Let my mind go late tonight. She got that mad love, baby. Down the free. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the breakdown, and I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and chuck it to a friend. If you have any recommendations, just chuck them in the comments. I really appreciate it all. I know the video is not the greatest quality. I'm literally just using my webcam and the mic and stuff. So if you can give me some recommendations, that would be awesome. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Notice her sniffing at the side of my tent. If she wasn't so nuts, she was probably a 10. But then a girl with the brain got me stuck in my head like I sent her just one text and she sent a million back. And now she knocking on the door, locked the front and back. I guess I learned my lesson, just told the teacher, son. I guess I called myself a crazy one.